Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. Hope everybody's doing all right. It's just me again, Kiana. I'm on here finishing up and getting to the point. Not finishing up, actually. I have a lot more to talk about, but today I am just going to just go into the story in detail about why I'm not at San Quentin. So I could just kind of get that over with, and then I can kind of wrap some stuff into that happened in between, if that makes sense. Anyway, y'all got y'all taxes? Oh, I did. And it's been a long fucking day. Spending money is exhausting. And that shit go quick to the motherfucker, don't it? Anyway, I'm thanking God for the opportunity to be able to catch up on some stuff and get my kids some clothes and stuff like that. So, any hoot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go into that. So, everybody kind of, already knows, obviously, Michael told me one night on the phone that a friend of his had a girlfriend that that had got a job up there, right? So he recommended me to apply and see if I could do the same thing. Okay, so again, I took the test while we were on the phone, the state exam, basically like just asking basic questions, if Sean and Sally were in the store and Sally robbed Sean and whooped his ass, would you say anything type shit, like just common sense. So that was that. I passed that. I had to go do a physical, a TB test, obviously a background check. It was like this happened in September, so it was like mid-November before I even heard back from them. And so ultimately my original hire date was December 18th, 2024. Okay, so I'm working at San Quentin. My position that I got hired for is called Custodian 1. So basically what I was doing was, Custodian Supervisor 1. There's a Custodian Supervisor 1, there's a Custodian Supervisor 2, and then there's a Custodian, like something else. I forgot. It's not a number though. It's like another title. Anyhow, what I would be doing is I ultimately had a team of 5 inmates, sometimes 7 if I had the strip and wax crew, or some guys that would, do the floors. But ultimately it was just 5 guys on my team, and we worked in the prison hospital. Okay, so the prison hospital, there's floors. The first floor, the second floor, the third floor, the fourth, the fifth. I believe there's actually only 4 floors that they use. No, there's a fifth, but there are 6 total. The 6th is like maintenance or something like that. Anyhow, when I first got there, I was on the 3rd floor. I was training for a while with a young lady named Irene. That floor is just like appointments. Like when people come in to, like get seen about something, the ophthalmology, office is also on the 3rd floor, and also the main information area where the CO, the correction officer Ali, worked. This is the officer that I'm ultimately going to be discussing. His name is Ali. So he was like the information officer, but when I got there he was on vacation, so he wasn't there. I didn't meet him until like the end of, no, it was like mid-January. I always get that mixed up a little bit. So anyway, it was like mid-January when I met him. So anyhow, okay, so I was working on the 3rd floor training with Irene, just kind of shadowing. Our job basically is to go from exam room to exam room. We have the key card. We open the door. The inmates go in. They clean the room up to OSHA standard. We are supervising, making sure they're not passing each other anything, making sure they're not, doing anything that they're not supposed to be doing technically. And we get to move right along. The supervisors do have to clean the pharmacies because they're not allowed to go in there. So anyhow, after ultimately, okay, so when I got done training, I was supposed to be in what they call H unit, right? I was going to be over there, because it was in bad shape. So they were going to put me over there to get it in shape. And, it's a really big area. It's basically for people that are crazy. Okay, H unit is for the crazy motherfuckers, or if you're like a low level about to go home type shit, you know what I mean? So anyhow, I can't remember if I had got sick or something, but I was off for 3 days, and then when I came back, they were like, Kiana, you're not in H unit anymore, you're going to the 4th floor. So the 4th floor is where all the psych cases are, all the permanent residents are on the 4th floor, anybody that was on death row, because San Quentin no longer has death row, but when they did, when they abolished it, there was still some inmates there that were death row inmates. So they're on the 4th floor. There's also people that basically Like, they go in, they get treated, then they go out, they try to kill themselves or something like that, and then they have to put them back in. In my opinion, that's PC, or like protective custody, because most of these guys are probably running from something, or they're hiding from something, so that's why they keep coming back with this suicide stuff, or whatever the case may be. A lot, just basically like the mental stuff, you know what I mean? And we also had yeah, like I said, residents that actually stayed there, like the ones that lived in the hospital lived on that floor as well. So ultimately, I was assigned that floor. Again, I had 5 guys. We had a routine every day. My shift was 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. I'm driving, leaving home at 10 a.m., getting to work by 12, getting off at 8, and getting home by like 10:30, because I would have to drive to Elk Grove and get the kids from Keon after my shift. Every day. Well, Monday through Friday. Yeah, because I was off on the weekends. So, anyhow, all that was working great, right? Oh, I would like to state that the 4th floor is a very, very challenging floor, because with it being so many mental cases, there's a lot of technicians and psychiatrists and psych techs and nurses that, you know, because these are special cases, so they have a person assigned to them. Each person has one person assigned to them, so it's a very busy floor. And prior to me being assigned there, the supervisor was having problems with the pharmacy techs, because basically time scheduling. Like, when you go to the pharmacy, if you say, do you guys want to clean today? If they tell you no, you leave them alone and you go on about your business, and you come back again tomorrow and ask them if they want it to be clean. Sometimes they are so busy and overwhelmed with their, you know, business, that they just don't have time to step out of the room for us to come in and clean that, and we are supposed to oblige that. So I guess the prior supervisor was complaining about it and making a big deal about it, and just causing a lot of chaos on that floor. So I was ultimately assigned there. Okay, so Ali is a correction officer. Again, he's the information officer that works in the front. Like, if you need, hey, where is this located, or what floor is this on, he'll direct you to that. He also is accountable for the inmates during count time, because at 4:30 they have to all leave or be at least accounted for you know, for chow or whatever, and they all count all the inmates in the whole prison at that time. So everybody, he's responsible for that. And if they have what they call fog line, like, if it's foggy, the inmates aren't allowed to travel. Like, once they leave their assignment, they can travel back to their cell on their own, like in a group setting. But if it's foggy, they have to be escorted, you know, by a free staff. So he's responsible for coordinating that kind of stuff as well. Also, just like keeping an eye out, you know, on the general bullshit that goes in and out of the prison hospital, because as soon as you walk in, he's right there. So anyhow, okay, so he's been there for 26 years. He comes back from vacation. You know, he's a friendly guy. You know what I mean? We're all friendly. I'm friendly. I just, you know, barely started there. You know, of course I want to get to know this guy, because he's the information guy. So not anything special. You know what I mean? I know I'm friendly. I know I am. But not flirtatiously friendly. And I believe that, like, some people that may not understand that may take that as me giving them some kind of special attention. And I think that's really what happened with this nigga. So anyhow, if I remember correctly, our initial conversation was about wine tasting, and I gave him some information about a vineyard that I go to here in Sacramento, Bogle. You know what I mean? It's very reasonably priced. It's very nice. Blah blah blah. So he, you know, took the information. Whatever. Our second encounter, if I'm not mistaken, was just basic shooting the shit. Like, hey, how you doing, Ali? Whatever. He did mention that I was cute or whatever. Then we had a conversation about some kind of like vitamin one time. So after that, this one particular night, I was leaving out the hospital. He was talking to Miss Irene as I was leaving out. I said bye to both of them. He told me to come over there. You know, oh, actually, I'm sorry, that's not the truth. I walked over there and was like kind of chatting with him before I was about to leave, right? And so I was like, Irene, I'm gonna walk out with you. So as the both of us were walking out, he said, Kiana, let me talk to you for a second. And I'm like, all right, Irene, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm gonna go see what he wants. So the walking out incident had occurred not too long before that, where I got walked out by the goon squad, and they searched my car and all that. So I'm thinking that he's like gonna want to chat about that. That's what I really thought. I thought he wanted to like I said, he had been on vacation. He probably heard about it because everybody fucking heard about it, and he probably was just like trying to pick my brain about it. So he tells me to follow him. So we leave the podium, we make a right, and we go into the ophthalmology room. He closes the door behind him, and he immediately tries to like grope me basically. And so I resisted, you know what I mean? I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, there's no cameras in here. And I said, hey, hold up. And so he goes back in again. And there was a window behind him that his back was to, but I could see out of it. And I was like, hey, Eric, just walk by. You know what I mean? And that's my supervisor. Eric did not just walk by, but I said that just in an effort to see, like, how he would act. And he did not act nothing. He didn't have no reaction. Like, he just was just like, went in again. And I said, hey, this is making me uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, watch out, bro. You know what I mean? And he was like, well, give me your number then. And so I, like, was about to, like, release his embrace, and he actually went in and kissed me on the cheek any motherfucking way. And I wrote my motherfucking number down on a piece of, like, napkin, and I gave it to him, and I ran up out of there. Hey, boo. It's good to see you. It's always good to see you. You make me smile. Anyway, so yeah, that was that. And then I left. I knew I had to report it because Miss Irene was still standing out there. And again, I had just started, you know what I mean? And you know what it was really? Because I could have whooped his ass if I really had to, and he ultimately wasn't going to do shit, you know what I mean? But the way that he was so comfortable with pulling me in that room, and the way there's no cameras in here, and just so, like, greasy. I know I'm not the first one he did that shit to. And he been there for 26 years. Bro, you have been here doing way too much, you know what I mean? And I only make noise when I feel that there's injustices being done. You know what I mean? I could have easily wrote that off like a real nigga. You know what I mean? And been like, this nigga crazy. But in retrospect, I'm glad I did. Because when the investigation started rolling, I did find out that I was not the only person that he did that shit to. But anyway, to get back on track, that happened. I wound up reporting it to my supervisor. Okay? And there was a report made, and there was an investigation. The investigation is actually still pending. You know what I mean? It just now got sent over to Internal Affairs because CDCR was doing their own investigation. I don't know what the findings was that, what the findings of were that, because they sent me a letter basically just saying, you know, like, we're done with our investigation and we're transferring over to Internal Affairs. So any hoot, I don't even remember half that shit anyway. But again, so I reported it. And then there was an investigation, and then eventually he was made to sign a cease and desist. Like, he had to, basically he was not able to have any contact with me. Oh, I'm just explaining the situation that happened to me at San Quentin while I'm not there. Right now I'm just explaining, like, the correction officer, like, what he did. Like, he put me in a room, tried to grope me, and I was just like, bro, watch out. And then I wrote my number down and ran up out of there. But I did report it. You know what I mean? Because I felt like he was a greasy nigga and that he didn't do that to just me. I felt like there were other people that have experienced this because he was just way too fucking comfortable, is what I'm saying. And he's been there for 26 years. You know what I mean? So he's definitely, and he lives on the motherfucking premises because some of the employees live like in trailers in the back, right? So yeah, he's one of them. He's a full-time employee. You feel me? Hold on, my eyelashes got me looking a little cockeyed in this motherfucker. But anyway, so, okay, I reported it. He signed the cease and desist. We weren't supposed to have any, like, contact that was unprofessional. Mind you, he works on the 3rd floor. I work on the 4th floor. We don't need to interact with each other at all. So that was actually working out great. You know what I mean? He was respecting that. And I knew that other people knew because correction officers have that attaboy kind of, like, camaraderie, like, my kids play golf with your kids on Sunday, and I'm your dad, stepdad, and uncle and goddad. They're all very tight-knit, and they support any kind of misconduct. I ain't even gonna lie. If it goes against, you know, because I wasn't a correction officer. I didn't work for, you know what I mean? I'm a custodian. So I'm female, you know what I mean? And it was crazy that the looks, the conversations, the gestures of people, but I am so, like, tuned into my own shit that I just used to walk around that motherfucker like I didn't give a fuck. And after I got walked out, I had to sign this thing where they said they can investigate me for up to 3 years. Anytime they want, they can search me, blah, blah, blah. And it was this one white CO who, with, like, pink hair. She had pink hair every day. She was a cool lady after, like, all was said and done. But she used to, like, follow me around like a hawk. When I would go in the bathroom, she would come in there after me. Girl, you have no idea if you are a paranoid individual, do not ever work at a fucking prison. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if they was looking at me or not, but nigga, I used to be so paranoid in that motherfucker because, oh my God, I ain't gonna tell myself, but look, long days, okay? Let's just say that. Any hoot. So, again, we were working together. This happened in January. Everything was going good up until April 18th of 2025. So what happened was, one of my guys had got injured. We were taking out the trash and he got cut, right? So I took him to TTA immediately, which is the prison's emergency room. So I took him to the emergency room right away. He got treated the incident transpired, but I forgot to report it to my supervisor when it happened that night. So the next day when I came in, I reported it to him, right, Eric. And Eric tells me, you need to get with Ali. Ali is the correction officer that, assaulted me, and there's an open investigation pending right now between him and I. I need to get with Ali to go get Evans, which is the inmate that was injured, to go get the report from the TTA, the emergency room, to bring to him before 7:38, which would have been 24 hours from when the incident happened, so he can document it correctly, or they'll get fined, or whatever. So I said, Eric, you want me to get with Ali? And he said, you better hurry up. So I was in the computer lab when this happened, right? I shed 3 tears, and I shed 3 tears because I knew that was my last day. You know what I mean? I knew that I was going to leave. I knew that that was going to be it. Plus, okay, so this was April. Michael wanted me to leave anyway by May. So I was kind of like looking for a way out because he was going to be getting out soon. And, he was not going to allow me to work at the prison once he got out. So anyhow, I shed 3 tears. I went up to the podium and I said, Ali, I need you to please help me to find Evans so I can get him back here so we can go to TTA to get his report. You know what I mean? That nigga looked like he was about to shit on himself. He was so nervous. He was damn near shaking. You know what I mean? Like communicating with me, interacting with me. He's probably like, what the fuck is she doing up here? You know what I mean? I'm not supposed to talk to this bitch. And I was thinking the same thing. I was so agitated and anxious about the whole situation because he could have easily he's the type of guy, he could have easily been like, get your ass out of here, fuck you bitch, that's how he talks too. He could have easily did that, but luckily and thankfully he was peaceful, he was calm. When Evans got to the TTA, he was like, what's going on, Kiana? He didn't tell me what the reason was. So he was, that was the thing, but other than that, everything went smoothly. So I did what I was supposed to do, and then that night I quit. You know what I mean? That was April 18th 2024. 25. I drove home, cried a little bit more, and I quit. I didn't call. I wrote an email to Eric, and I CC'd Human Resources, and I CC'd my supervisor, because he was the big supervisor. And my supervisor, her name was Ava, or Eva, one of them, with an A, so Ava. Anyhow, I emailed them, and I just said, I was advised that I would never have to work directly with Ali again. You know what I mean? I am choosing to forfeit my employment because that situation made me feel like I was not protected, and if it ever happened again, I don't know how I would handle that. And I worded it like that specifically, you know what I mean? Because I seen the writing on the wall with this situation, you know what I mean? So I quit. This was Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, HR were calling me back to back. I did not answer the phone on either day because I was not ready to deal with the situation. Once I talked to them on Wednesday, they basically asked me to explain the situation, and she said, that should have never happened. Okay, this is HR telling me this. And I said, okay, I agree with that. And she said, well, Kiana, we heard that you are an amazing worker. She said, Martinez or somebody, this is a person I've never met in my life or don't even know who the fuck that is, said that your work is outstanding. You know what I mean? That you're a good worker. Can we offer you a position in either Vacaville or Folsom? We have 2 positions available in either of those locations. Obviously, I live in Sacramento, so Folsom was ideal. I talked to Michael about it, and he said, go ahead. He said, do it. He said, because what they're doing is trying to basically pacify a situation that they know could definitely put them in a bad light, right? So if I get my job back, I'm less likely to sue or do something like that. So, okay, I say Folsom. So I start at Folsom on Friday. This was Wednesday. I start Friday. So I'm not in the hospital, right? I'm cleaning their corporate offices, like their data center and their HR part, and the what else was I doing? Like the custodians break area, and the accounting and stuff like that, like all these places, right? So okay, the second day I was there, right, I had brought some milk and cereal to school, and I asked one of the inmates, I said, where's the nearest, refrigerator? And he's like, I don't know. And there was a refrigerator in their break room, right? So I asked him to store the milk. I said, can you put this in the refrigerator for me, right? He did. And I retrieved it on my way home, or on my way out. I, asked the other lady. Oh, no, there was 2 ladies with me that seen me retrieve it. Why? You know what I mean? And I said, hey, I didn't know anything else. And they were like, okay, in the future, just store it, in the training room, is what they said, our training room. So that was the end of that, right? So I want to say that when I was at San Quentin, I can hand my guys milk and tell them to put them in the refrigerator. I can say nigga 100,000 times a day. Everybody's cussing. You know what I mean? I can interact with my guys. I can talk with them. I can laugh with them. I can, you know what I mean, hand them a cup of water. I used to bring them coffee, you know what I mean, with permission, you know what I mean? And it was just a completely different environment, right? So I didn't think I'm doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong, right? So I wound up getting written up for that. They also wrote me up talking about they heard me say nigga. I mean, of course I did. Well, I ain't even gonna motherfucking nigga. So I'm like, oh my God, you know, my conduct is inappropriate, blah, 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 blah. So immediately, this is second day in, I'm already on the shit show, right? Already on the shit list. The inmates are mad at me because now they're getting, you know, investigated for me handing him some milk. They have to write statements and, you know, they could have got kicked out the program. You know what I mean? I could have jeopardized their early release. You know what I mean? Literally. And I'm feeling this and I'm telling myself this and I apologize to them. I don't know if I know one of them did, Carter, but I don't know about the other gentleman. And I sincerely did not mean for that to happen. Like, it was crazy. Mind you, I am the only black woman, person, human in that whole entire, like, shit. You know what I mean? There was a training area and then there was the corporate area that I was cleaning. And I mean, there was a good 70 people, you know, in and out of that area as staff. And I've never seen that one. Oh, I'm sorry. The lady Kelly, who was actually doing the correspondence with me about getting the new job, she was actually black as fuck, actually. Big fat black bitch. Anyway, but she was not black. She was only black by color. You feel me? So, and I never even recognized that until one day one of the gentlemen was like, you know, they probably have a stereotype against you, black girl with pink hair, and that's how they've treated me. And that's what they would call me, the black girl with the pink hair. Okay, so mind you, that happened. Then the next incident that happened was the gentleman that I was training with, his name was Robert Calhoun, Calahili, whatever the fuck. Real soft ass nigga, really emotional ass, weird ass. Excuse me, but this is how I really feel about him, and I'm not lying about the nigga. He's a very emotional, horrible individual because he was a lying ass piece of shit that don't want to see me in the streets for a goddamn fade or none of that shit, bro. I swear to God, I'll put hands on and feet on that nigga because he is, and I don't condone violence, but principle is definitely important to me, and some things you just need to get your ass whooped. Okay? So anyway, and not like in a loving way. We gonna scrap and give a hug. Anyway, so what happened was we're doing our normal routine, right? And okay, so first what happened was I got one of his guys fired. His main guy, right? I caught him stealing candy. And of course I feel like it was kind of a setup, though I ain't even gonna lie, but that's another story. I caught him stealing candy. Obviously that's my job. I'm supposed to watch them, make sure they're not doing anything. He stole some candy off somebody's desk, put in his pocket. So I told the guard, I said, hey, I think, you know, Anthony stole something. You know what I mean? And he's like, I said, can you check the cameras? There's cameras everywhere in this fucking prison. It's a prison. The nigga the big fat stupid motherfucker gonna tell me, what's this nigga's name? Bonami, big fat white correction officer. He's in charge of like that area, just keeping an eye on shit, driving the guys from the bus, you know, from Old Folsom to the corporate to do their job, because the guys are working in a program. They work for California Prison Industry Authority, which is the company that I work for. They employ inmates to clean. You know what I mean? Oh my God, Facility Healthcare Maintenance, FHM, Facility Healthcare Maintenance. God damn, did you see that? Struggling. So that is the department that we work for, because they have other departments too where they do like shit, welding and all kind of shit. And the inmates earn money like a real job. They got to clock in and clock out, and they can also earn good time credits where they get out a little bit early. And we could also make recommendations to their parole officer during their parole hearing if, you know, need be. So anyhow, okay, so that was that. So he's gonna tell me there's no cameras in there, right? No cameras in there. I said, okay, well, I'm sure he stole something then. Can you go check his pockets? And then they go, like, upset about it, like he's mad. So he goes and checks his pockets. They find the candy. Of course, this guy's calling me all kind of bitches and hoes and da-da-da-da. I could hear him over there, right? And they're just letting him go on and on and on about it. Mind you, also, when I got to Folsom, everybody knew all the details of the shit that happened at San Quentin. They knew. Like, if they didn't know exactly what happened, they knew well, what happened? I heard you came from San Quentin. Something bad, huh? It was something bad? And I would always tell him, no, it wasn't nothing bad. I got assaulted. You know what I mean? And the one dude, Anthony Luna, he's like, oh, well, thank you for telling me, because you could have easily told me to shut the fuck up. And then it's none of your fucking business. I said, but I don't have anything to hide. You know what I mean? And I don't know why you guys are like this, but okay. You know what I mean? Whatever you guys want to know. And I'm not no pussy either, so let's put that on the palette. Anyhow, okay, so Anthony gets fired. This is Robert's favorite guy. There was some animosity. You know what I mean? You could just tell, even though I was doing my job. But Robert is not an individual who does his job. Because the first day that I worked with him, he was letting inmates eat candy out of the garbage in the ladies' room. Like watching the door to see if anybody was coming while they ate candy. That is no bueno. Okay, and I asked him, don't do that shit in front of me. I said, I'm new. It makes me uncomfortable. You know what I mean? That was my first time that I hollered at him. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. That's how I do it. I'm going to holler at you first. And then if not, I don't have no choice but to go over your head, nigga, because you're not going to put me in a situation where I look like I'm doing anything wrong. I already got this stupid-ass milk incident that these white people think I'm... What did they were like, they could have poisoned it, and you don't hand the inmate anything. And I'm like, says who? You know what I mean? Like, we are supposed... What? That's impossible. I'm handing them gloves and brooms. And come on, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that. And it's on camera. I ain't did shit wrong. You know what I mean? I even admitted to it. So that was that. So anyhow, the incident after that, we were out. We were cleaning the bathroom by the little main office area or whatever. And one of the supervisors from that office came out and asked if we could, kind of like accommodate her and clean her bathroom. You know what I mean? So we basically had just stopped our routine. We were always done early. It wasn't like a big deal to go clean her bathroom. So Rob was like in the bathroom when she came out and told us. So when he came out, I said, hey, Nanette asked us if we could go in and clean the bathroom, and I forgot what that office is called. And there's a ring around the toilet. So she wants us to get the, the Puma Stone thing and get in there and do that shit and get it going. Hi, Alicia. Hey, y'all. Oh, you know what, y'all? I get to go get a fish tank tomorrow, and I'm so fucking excited. Side note, and I got to shop on Amazon today for the first time in like 3 years, and it was really fun. I had a lot of fun. They got some cute outfits on there, too, for a fat bitch. When I look cute this time when I go on my cruise, because last time I was broke when I went with Kimura, so I just brought a bunch of shit. Obviously, I already had, and people ain't never seen my shit before anyway, so it didn't really matter. But I couldn't go to the casino or nothing. And I had ran out of weed. Oh, my God. It was a tough 4 days. And then I got sick. Right. Okay, so this is a redo. Okay, I'm going on another cruise, April 24th through April 27th, I believe. A couple months, 57 days. And this time, I'm leaving out of San Francisco, not LA. So that's cool. I can take the megabus. I'm going to make sure I got plenty of weed and everything else I need. And I'm going to make sure that I have money to gamble. Because that's the only thing I like to do. And I got my room with the balcony. You know what, y'all? Okay, so I had reserved the cruise like 2 months ago. At the time, room with a balcony, $1,200 just for me. When I went to pay for it today, it had dropped to $749. I got my room for $749 with a balcony. That I ain't never had that. And then I had a $100 on board credit, whatever. So I was able to get my internet for $2 because it's something dollars a day. It's $102 for the internet. And if you ain't got the fucking internet, your phone won't work at all. So I only paid $2 for my internet, $750 for my cruise. I'm gonna pay $13 for the megabus. And I'm going to get outfits and have a good time. And I don't know what's going to happen. Remember, I'm technically single. So, anyway. Well, I don't know anymore, actually. Ooh, because we had a pretty decent conversation last night. And I think we might be making progress. But you know what, y'all? As much as I love Michael, and I do love him a lot, I'm not finna wait for that nigga forever. And he knows this, and I'll tell him to his face. I'm not giving him a time frame, but there needs to be progress. We need to be moving towards something because he wants to live and do all this. I totally get that, and I'm not asking him to do anything other. But I am meant to be somebody's wife. You know what I mean? I'm already 40. Not to say that I don't got no time left, because, bitch, I'll probably be lit till I'm about 92 with no memory loss, no Alzheimer's, no diabetes. I'm still cooking beans and popping pussy and doing all kind of shit at 92 with my teeth. And that's what I'm manifesting. In my right mind, too, talking the most shit with my goddamn handicap placard. But anyway, I fucking love him, bruh. But the love that I have for him is, not everlasting. If I can't, go anywhere with him. You know what I mean? And as much as our story is beautiful and this and that, I just want to make sure that we on the same page. Because I'm not finna let you just run amok out here and then you come to me, nigga. Absolutely fucking not. You got me fucked up because I'm not going to ever want to be in a batch of bitch brawl, like where a bitch can see me in Food Max and be like, I fucked your nigga in Sacramento. Absolutely not. And I'm not going to support behavior that is reckless. And I'm not just going to sit back and watch you do too much. You know what I mean? You're not going to just be able to just play with me. And that's the conversation we had last night. And, you know, ultimately he said he had a realization. No, he said he had an epiphany. And he said it was good. But he didn't give me any details. That's called well, I'm not going to say it's gaslighting, but it could be. Because you're just trying to string me along. And I told him that today too. So we went to dinner and we had another conversation. And I ain't trying to be difficult, but nigga, I need some clarity. And I need to make sure you ain't fucking nobody else. That's really what I know. So we had an agreement that we're not fucking nobody else. And that we're going to move towards something. He said I'm going to be, you know, in his life forever. But again, I just don't know, bro. We'll just see what happens. I'm very, very excited that I do have him in my life right now and that I'm getting to experience him after all that time of just wanting him here and getting to know him over the phone and, you know what I mean? You guys know what we went through. So, it's beautiful. He got shit here. Shoes and shit. Hold on, I'm gonna show y'all. I'm just playing. Well, I am gonna show y'all, but that don't really mean shit. But look, the nigga left a little shoe, a little bag over here, you know what I'm saying? So, I guess that's his attempt to try. You know what I mean? And he took me to meet some of his family and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of cute. That's effort. You know what I mean? And that's all I ask for. So as long as I get consistent effort and we're going towards somewhere, then I'm going to hang on. You know what I mean? And I do want to be his wife. You know what I mean? I love him. He's my soulmate. And I'm 100% sure of that. And if anything else transpires where I do have to ultimately find somebody else, I just have to make sure that I'm secure. It would be for security. You know what I mean? Financial security, safety, protection, and I don't know if it would be love. You know what I mean? Maybe it would develop into that over time, but I definitely love Michael. Okay? Anyway. So. Okay. Okay, so I quit. I was at Folsom. The milk incident. Okay, so I tell him, we got to go clean the bathroom. Nanette asks us to clean the bathroom. You know what I mean? So Robert says, screams out loud in front of the inmates and everything. What the fuck? Why the fuck does she always want us to do something? We just fucking clean the bathroom. Like, made a big scene. Irate, even. I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I did tell the supervisor. I ain't gonna fucking lie. I said that shit was very unprofessional. It made me uncomfortable. He's talking like that in front of the inmates. What kind of fucking shit show are y'all running in this motherfucker? Technically. You know what I mean? And it wasn't, like, me reporting it. I was having a conversation, like, with Ava. I had another... Okay, so she was the E-Ava. So she's Eva. Eva and Ava. Crazy, huh? I was having a general conversation with her, like, girl, he was tripping, da-da-da-da. And she was like, well, he's done that to me before, blah, 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 blah. And then she went and told somebody else, and then I actually had to write a report about it. So they went and told him, obviously. And I'm in accounting cleaning the next day. He comes in there, and he's like, I just want to apologize for whatever I did to make you go tell Ava, that I, whatever the fuck. I don't remember exactly what he said, right? And so I'm like, yeah, I did tell her. I said, because what you did was hella weird. You know what I mean? I said, I don't have a problem. I've already asked you, you know what I mean, not to behave like that in front of me. You know what I mean? I'm here to do my fucking job. You got me fucked up around all these police, bro. I don't know what your problem is, but don't act like that. You know what I mean? You're creating a hostile work environment type shit. And he's like, yeah, okay, blah, 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 blah. So the next day I come in. Just one petty motherfucking thing after the next after that. I swear to God. Literally every day. Some days I would go to work crying because I'm just like, what's going to happen today? You know what I mean? Like, you could just tell what was happening. You know what I mean? I was being retaliated against. I was being shunned. I'm literally the only black girl there. Okay? And I'm a good worker. I know I am. I'm doing my job thoroughly. Nobody calls me Kiana. That girl with the pink hair. Can somebody get the girl with the pink hair? And they're reinforcing their instructions to me like I'm stupid. And, okay, don't click that box right there, okay? And bitch. Never that. Always professional. Yes, I understand. Absolutely. No problem. I got you guys. Yeah, I got you. You guys good. No, you're in great hands. You know what I mean? Because that's who I am. Again, I'm love. I'm positivity. I'm nothing but. You know what I mean? Whatever I feel about a person, I put that to the side because it's personal. You know what I mean? In any situation, whether it's personal or professional. It's not up to me to do that. We already had that discussion. But anyhow, so moving right along. After that, the next day he went and told my supervisor, well, Ava's supervisor, his name was Marco, oh, Kiana was coerced into making that statement. You know what I mean? I didn't do that. Like, Ava made her do that because he had a prior incident with her. Oh, no. She got the position that he had applied for because he was trying to be the custodian too, and they both applied at the same time, and she wound up getting it. So he was super resentful. He was talking so much shit about her. It was disgusting. About her husband. Just a horrible human being. Him and that dude, Troy, his friend, they're really disgusting individuals. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, their mentality and the way that they talk about people in the world, and it's quite frankly awful. I mean, for real. And I mean, they're just getting away with it. It's really a bad situation there at Cal PIA in Folsom. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not a whistleblower. I'm not none of that shit. This is already out there. They are doing some real wild shit up in that motherfucker. And it's a lot of, I would just want to say evil. And I'm actually glad that I'm not there anymore, because it was a heaviness and an energy in there that made me feel nothing but uncomfortable, except for maybe around 2 or 3 people. You know what I mean? One guy, oh my god, I forgot his name, but he was a big influence on me. It's mostly men, because I get along good with men. One of the guys his name was Mike, and then the other guy, I forgot his name, but it'll come to me, because he gave me like a placard. But anyhow, okay, so that was that. The next incident after that, once like they came and told me, oh, he said you were coerced into doing this. We had to both write a statement that nobody is doing anything against their will. We all want to be here and we're all happy, right? So that happened. Then I get finished with my guys one day early at 11. I send them on lunch for an hour instead of, 30 minutes. He does that. He sends his guys on lunch for 2 hours sometimes, right? So he calls Ava and reports she's been on lunch for an hour. I'm at the Dollar Tree. Ava's texting me like, Kiana, how long have you been on lunch? I'm like, shit, I don't know, but I'm on my way back. I'm at the Dollar Tree, bitch. Well, what's the name said you've been on lunch for an hour. And so I texted this nigga like, come on, bro. I said, why would you, I don't know why you would think that I was in on lunch for an hour. I said, but you're mistaken. You know what I mean? I explained the situation to, I'm not your manager. I'm not your boss. You don't text me. So I said, okay, chill out, bro. You know what I mean? I'm on my way back. We can have a conversation. You know what I mean? So I wound up taking another hour. You know what I mean? And when I told her I was, though. I said, I'm gonna take a minute, because this is just too much. It was some other shit that was happening in between too, but it was just like one thing after another. I think the day before, I had got like reprimanded for wearing a headband that had cat ears on it. They made me sign a copy of the attire policy, which said nothing about headbands. I was not going against the attire policy, but she told me Nanette likes to keep it very beige around here, and you could be attracting the inmates' attention. Of course I'm attracting the inmates' attention. Do you see this? Bitch, hold up. Hold on, let me let y'all see the whole fucking thing. I'm attracting attention everywhere I go. And you know what? My therapist told me to make sure that I pump myself up like this, because this is not even familiar to be all like this. And it's not cocky. I only got a few good years left of this, baby. I'm going ahead and... But of course the motherfuckers looking. So don't even, bitch. I could come in here looking like my name is Charles and I'm a 5-year-old little boy. My energy is gonna... Because y'all all hella boring and plain. You know what I mean? Nobody's singing around here. I'm singing and making jokes. And I would bring in like dollar bills and be like... I have them in my hand. Who's on the dollar bill? Them niggas can't remember, because some of them niggas ain't seen currency in 20 years. You know what I mean? Some of them niggas ain't seen a dollar and a holla. You know what I mean? They ain't seen 10s, 20s, whatever. Just little pieces of the outside world. We would do Michael Jackson trivia. Kept me in favor with them and brought life to their situation. And they told me that, several inmates. It makes me emotional because it's such an important job. It really is. You know what I mean? Not just cleaning. And cleaning is my thing, if anybody knows me. Before I got to San Quentin, they had never got 100% on their audit, right? When I got there, they had just failed the pre-audit. So I took initiative to make sure, because they were failing for paperwork. Like their logs weren't being properly logged, the bathroom logs weren't being properly signed and dated. When people were signing out the keys, they weren't signing them back in. They would put them back in, but they weren't signing them back in. You know what I mean? Some of the cell phone logs were missing. So I took personal initiative to make sure that all that shit got straight. Because when y'all look good, I look good. You know what I mean? And he, Eric, he was very like, he wanted to get 100%. And so when I got to Folsom, I found out they had got 100% for the first time ever. I even got a little nigga fired because, oh my God, y'all think I'm the ops, but I'm really just doing my job. He was forging the bathroom logs. Like he would fill it out when he cleaned it, and then he would fill it out for the following day. And I told his supervisor, which was Irene, she brought it to his attention. The next day, when I went and checked the log, the nigga did it again. And she didn't catch it. And she was hot about that. She's like, I'm doing my job. I'm like, bitch, I'm just trying to help you out. I said, we're all sisters here. You know what I mean? That's the approach you gotta take with those kind of people. Because I'm not going to go back and forth with you, bitch. I'm in San Quentin. It's a San Quentin, motherfucker. So, okay. Anyway, they had got 100% on their audit, and I take full responsibility for that. Fuck what you heard. So anyway, Folsom. Okay, so that situation happened. Now it's just kind of like one thing after another. You know what I mean? Two of the inmates were talking about making taffy. I asked, how do you make it? All of a sudden, I'm getting called into the office because I went to the store and bought supplies to make taffy to distribute to the inmates. What? How did that get to fucking twisted up like that? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck going on here? Then one day, I'm outside cleaning the cart, our janitorial cart. I'm going to get to this and kind of wrap it up because I know I've been going on and on. We start at 8:30 every morning. I'm getting all the supplies, putting everything on. It's about 8:17. The dude Robert walks up to me. He's like, hey, what time are you going to be done? I'm starting at 8 today. God damn, y'all, these eyelashes, I must have put these on wrong, because one of my shits look real cockeyed. Am I tripping? Hell no, I ain't tripping. I think I just need to put like one more right here, one more cluster. That's what I'll do. Okay, and anyway, I'm gonna do that later, because I'm supposed to be sewing my son's jacket too. Okay, so I'm like, okay, well, it's not 8 o'clock. It's past that, nigga, so I'll be done at 8:30. You know what I mean? Bag back, nigga, you got 12 minutes. The nigga takes the cart out of my possession, snatches it hella hard, and then runs it into my leg and say, quit playing these fucking games with me. And I said, I ain't playing no games, bro. I said, you need to calm down. I said, let's go have a conversation over there in the parking lot. He walks off, goes into the office and tells. I get called into the office. He, conveniently leaves out the fact that he ran the fucking cart into my leg. So I make a report. You know what I mean? He has to make a report. Yeah, so that's that. I'm like, okay, I don't want to come back and work with this nigga, right? So I asked, what's going to happen? Are we going to have some kind of like resolve, whatever? Nobody responds to me. So the girl Ava was like, well, escalate it to HR. You know what I mean? Send them an email and let me know what's going on. Nobody responds to me, right? So the next day, I didn't have no gas anyway, right? To get to work, I ain't even gonna lie. So what I told him was, nigga, and I worded it this way on purpose, I don't feel safe coming to work because nobody has addressed the situation between me and Rob. I will not be returning to work until I feel safe and protected by my employer. Please let me know when there can be some kind of mediation between the two of us. This nigga responds and says, nobody authorized you to have the day off, and I expect you to be here tomorrow, and we'll have a sit down. You know what I mean? That was it. So when I got there the next day, I was made to work directly with that nigga. You know what I mean? I just walked up to him, and I'm like, bro, do you want me to work with you today, or you want me to just get out the fucking way? Because I'm not finna play these hoe-ass games with you, bitch-ass, hoe-ass, funky-ass nigga. And the nigga said, you could take the guys, I'll work our paperwork. You know what I mean? Motherfucker. Okay, so that's what I do. You know, the day goes by, everything's good. Then he goes on vacation. You know what I mean? Everything seems to be, going well. Then he comes back from vacation. I complete my day. I'm cleaning the cart. At the end of the day, I get called into the office with all these people, these like 5 white people. Oh, Kiana, we're going to put you on administrative leave so we can investigate the situation that happened between you and Rob, and blah, 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 blah. So, okay, I'm on administrative leave for a week. I got a lawyer. Like, as soon as I went home, I got a lawyer. And I reported them to OSHA. All kind of labor, I reported them to everybody. Civil rights, motherfucking Better Business Bureau, everything. Because I'm definitely leaving.